Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome. Hey. Yes. Are you going to put those hands up? Up. Hey. And they say that. Up, down. Because all we do is win. All right, Dorothy,
here.
Are here in the house. Welcome, and welcome, girl. You look good.
Thank you. I got cute for you because I was like, let me not come and play because I know Tisha's gonna be on here. So,
oh my gosh, I love
it. I changed my outfit and I refreshed my makeup and fluffed
nice.
Yes, I did because I know I understand my audience. I understood the assignment.
You know what, Dorothy? I believe in self-love is so important. I'm sure that your body, not only for me and how I live my life, but for you and for your self-esteem, you feel good when you looking good. I'm sure you were gorgeous before, but I love the teal number and the purpley lip. Looking good. Yes. So, welcome to Winning Workplace Wednesdays. This is the space where we talk about the work environment. We're both coaches. We both are in the learning development space where we can either build trainings from scratch or we may have some in our toolkit that we share with different clients. But before I do anything, I would love for you to do our guest the honor of introducing yourself. Who is the fabulous Dorothy Enriquez?
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I am Dorothy Enriquez. I am the founder and principal consultant of the Ellevate Collective, and I'm the mom of our VP of the Successful Leadership Division. That's Malia Diana. She is 5. She's already a mini mogul in these streets. And I spend my time working with corporations, nonprofits, and small businesses, helping them to answer the call on remarkable leaders, which is to produce another leader who can produce another leader who can produce another leader.
Yes.
Yes. And so my focus is really making leadership development and diversity, equity, inclusion, engagement accessible, transformative, and relatable. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, it's interesting. As I was sharing with you, well, we met. Let me go to the questions and make sure that we answer all of the questions that I premeditated. And then I can go to my ad hoc. So, can you please share a little bit of your journey and how you became an entrepreneur? So we met at the Education 2.0 conference and we spoke, but we didn't get to everything. It's been 2 weeks. How did the Ellevate Collective come to be? This is your workspace, the Ellevate Collective. How was it birthed? What was the vision child? How did it come about? And how are you now this author, coach, amazing, dynamic person that you are today?
Yes. Well, I think that running my own firm has been in the making probably since the beginning. I have been dipping and dabbling in business since I was 10. And I always thought it was just me, but I interviewed my mom a couple years ago, just so that I could really get her life story so that when she's not here, I can watch the videos and hear the interviews.
Wow.
And one of the things, it comes from Brendan Burchard. He's got a downloadable so you can interview your parents and people that you love. And so I found out through this series of interviews that she too had the entrepreneurial spirit. And she was a fashion designer and seamstress when I was growing up. And she started selling doll clothes at school when she was 7.
OMG.
And so it just was so illuminating for me. Like, that explains everything. Like, it's in the DNA, it's in the blood. And so when I started out as a teacher, teaching at the collegiate level, and then transitioned into corporate. And within, oh, I would say about 45, 60 days, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. I gotta start planning my great escape. Um,
Yes,
and
yes.
it would take me about 15 years to really rally and find a way that would stick. Um, and so, yeah, this has been in the making for forever.
Wow.
And the way that this firm was born is after participating in this transformative leadership program called the African American Leadership Program. I realized it was a 9-month program that I thought was a weekend, neither here nor there. But during the weekend retreat, I had this epiphany of who I was becoming, and I realized that I was going to have to give myself permission
Yeah.
to go and fully be me. And what that was going to look like is me doing what I was doing, just doing it, what I was doing at my 9 to 5, but doing it for myself. And so at the end of that retreat, I just paddled into my, boss's office, like, I'm going to quit this job, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, God, I know you're going to quit. Please do your work. And so I would quit. I went to that retreat in October 2015, and I would quit my job in April 2018. And
Wow.
so this has been a journey in the making. But I think the big piece was finding that courage, that self efficacy, and giving myself permission to be powerful instead of allowing other people to dictate who I could and could not be.
Yes, preach that. I
Mhm.
I want to shout out my sister Andrea Brown, who's in the comments. She says Dorothy looks amazing.
Ooh, thank you, doll. Yes,
Yes, yes. I'm glad you're loving it, Andrea. And so I love to celebrate women. I just
me
love it.
too.
And I
We
want to
need more of
shout
that.
out Heather Lindsay because she is where I got the phrase, she helps me to be delivered from people bondage.
Ooh.
And so it's interesting because I was speaking to someone I was interviewing today,
Mhm.
and we talked about conflict. Conflict can be good. You can grow from conflict. when
Yeah,
we work
usually.
out when we work out, our it doesn't feel good, but our muscles grow. And
Right.
so in terms of adversarial conflict, he said that he wears a smile regularly because it's disarming. I said, I love that verbiage
Yeah,
very much, very
it
much.
is disarming for sure.
However, for Tashana, for me, to some, I wear a smile because I love smiling. I live life on purpose. I'm happy. I'm light, right? But some people who are not complete in them would use that as a way, oh, that's fake. Or can you be happy all the time? Yes. If you love you, if you are operating in the vein of which you are creating, absolutely, you
Yeah.
can be overflowing every day. So I am so grateful that you interviewed your mom. I am delighted that she took entrepreneurship as a child. She took
Really.
her
Yeah,
outfits to school to sell. And that's
right.
why you have a mogul that's coming up that's 5 years. And I can so see that it's going to happen for her. Oh my
Let me tell you,
gosh.
first of all, my child has 3 businesses. No one gave her these ideas. So she has a bodega. She's Jamaican.
Yes.
I'm Belizean. I don't know where she became Jamaican, but she got a lot of.
Yes.
So she has a bodega. She has a boutique hotel. Where did she hear that term? Because she didn't hear me say that. And she has a restaurant that also has specializes in pickup orders. Um,
Mm.
and so the
Wow.
pickup order, I understand because we do pickup orders.
Yeah,
However, she's got 3 businesses, and she said she's exploring other options currently.
I love it.
And I'm just like,
Dorothy.
she doesn't understand when people have to go to work every day. She's like,
Yes.
why do they do that
Yeah.
every day?
I know, I know. I mean, when you think about the word says that your gift will make room for you. And being
Amen.
a mom, oh my gosh, I know your baby. I would love to. And so I guess going off script a little bit here, On Friday, I announced to the world in the fall on September 18th, I am rolling out Love You, the Ladies of Victory University. And so
Ooh.
at 7:15 this evening Eastern Standard Time, I know that you're in Wisconsin Central Time, I will be interviewing Candace Newville, who was in the Ladies of Victory at my church. And so at some point, I would love to interview your baby girl.
That would be fun.
Yes, and create a platform so that she can continue to get her stuff out so that the world can know about these three businesses that are either
Listen.
blueprinted and forthcoming.
And I'm just like, this baby,
Yes,
she she's never worked for anyone. Like when she plays pretend, she always runs businesses. She's never had a job. And
yeah,
I realized that last year and I'm like, that's so I feel like little kids want jobs. Like
yeah,
they want to
yeah,
go work for someone.
yeah. Go work in
She
Burger King or
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
she or like you wanna do something. You wanna be a teacher
Yeah,
or, be a police officer or a firefighter. Nope, she owns all the businesses that
I
she
love it.
makes up in her head. She owns all of them and she runs them herself.
Dorothy, you're a powerful woman and
Ooh.
you have birth and you are going to have a legacy through her to be a powerful woman. I don't know if you saw the Madam CJ Walker movie.
3 times because
Yes, and I'm hoping she was right there next to you watching
listen, I was like,
them. Yes.
me. Like, oh, and then of course there's a pandemic. So I'm like, okay,
Yep.
we did that during the Spanish flu, right? And
Exactly.
so I'm like, oh my, I was so inspired. I
Yes.
loved it. I loved it.
It was amazing. And just how she passed it. Oh, it was powerful,
Yeah.
powerful,
You can still
powerful.
get her stuff in the store.
Yes. So the panel that we were on
Mhm.
talked about hybrid work environment. How do you encourage your clients, your organizations that you support? How do you help them to get engaged in the hybrid setting?
Yeah, I think that when I think about the hybrid work culture, it I'm finding with the different clients that I work with, it's very challenging because ultimately we have found a way to do one or the other. And so either we're all here and maybe there's one person randomly that's remote
Yeah.
once in a while, or none of us is here. And so the idea of having to do this wintry mix of both presents quite a bit of a challenge because it's like, well, how come for some people it might be why do we have to be in person if these people don't have to,
Yep. Yep.
and for the people who aren't in person sometimes they don't feel as engaged, sometimes they feel a little disconnected, um, and sometimes it's harder to build rapport and relationships, especially if you're new and you're starting remote. So I think that there's all of these intricacies that I don't know that we necessarily planned for, because I think when it all happened, we thought it would be very temporary, right?
Correct.
We thought we would be at home for 2 weeks, max 30
Exactly.
days, and the whole world shut down. And it's just now, right, that people are really starting to bring folks back in droves. And as a result, many folks are leaving organizations because they don't want to go back. And
Correct.
so when I think about how do companies navigate this, I think part of it is the openness, right? And admitting it's a little wonky and it's probably going to be a little weird for a little while. And so, on both sides of the house, for the folks who are back in and they're staying in, for the folks who are straddling and they're in and out, and for the folks who are never coming back, really finding out based on what space and sphere you're operating in, what do you need?
Yeah.
What would allow us to really ignite this culture in a meaningful way, because we're working in a far more dynamic environment than we ever have, because it's always been one or the other. But I do think that sometimes companies don't want to be open in that way because they don't want it to seem like they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Um, and I think that we're kind of standing on that fine line of, if I can see you, I trust you. If I cannot see
Exactly.
you, you're not getting it
You're
done.
not working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not working. And there's been a lot of cases recently where organizations have been paying hundreds of people
Yeah.
only to find out they really weren't working. And so, how do we create dynamic accountability? And
Yeah.
how do we foster integrity and responsibility in the workplace where people are really engaged because they're finding meaning, which is the highest level of happiness? They're finding meaning in what they do every day. But I do think that this is different than what we've known before, and it is going to require more partnership than it ever has previously. Um, and so that's my really long answer to a very short
Oh,
question.
long answers. Good answer. What I find is working from home compared to when I worked in the office, I get so much done working from home. I am laser focused. There's nobody coming in. Do you have,
True.
a moment? I get so much stuff done. So I've actually had clients who have said, you know what, Tish, we're downsizing. We don't need this space. We have like how many people
Yeah,
in here? We're gonna
absolutely.
save some money. We're gonna have maybe quarterly, happy hours or places where we can meet up, go bowling, do something. But we are making it happen. We are doing the numbers, driving it to our bottom line, and we don't need all of this brick and mortar.
Yeah, that's true too. And I think it depends, right? There's some people who thrive working from home. There's some people who thrive going into the office and not having the distractions of their house and
Yes.
whatever's in there. And so I think everyone's different. I do find, and what the research also shows is that it's harder for people to separate, but it's been harder for people to separate ever since people got laptops and cell phones.
Yes.
That made it hard for people to separate, right?
Exactly.
But then now there's really no separation. There's no drive in to get your mind right, no drive home to settle down and leave it there.
Yes.
It's all happening
Yes. It's the bowl
here.
of spaghetti. Yes. It's
Yes.
all mixed
And
up.
it's hard to stop because you are already, in your sanctuary, in your comfortable place. And
Yes.
so, what can also happen for the person who wants to be diligent and execute with brilliance is that they never stop working. They
Correct.
probably take more breaks, but they take all day long to get it done because you have all day long.
Yeah.
And so, it's 9 o'clock at night, you've got a new brilliant idea and you're ready to hammer it out, but
Yes.
again, there's not that rhythm that we would have had in driving in, doing the work, and then driving back home.
Yes. The boundary.
Correct.
Great.
Right. That line of demarcation. No
Yes.
more time, no more work time.
Exactly, exactly. I really look forward to hearing as we continue to matriculate through 2024, 2025, what it's gonna look like,
Sure. It's going to be probably not what we expect.
If I could have my wish, if God said, Tish, how would you fix this?
Yeah.
As that HR mind, I would use that as a total reward based on you and your temperament.
Hmm.
Ish, Dorothy, what's your preference? Would you like to be in the office 100%? Would you like to be a hybrid worker? Or would you
Right.
like to work at home? And give the option to the employee. We do have X amount of percentage or seats, in our space, and the choice is yours. So that employee, I just find that when employees have ownership and they're empowered to make a choice and decision, that they make the decision that's best for them,
That's exactly right.
they flourish. They flourish. The work is on point. I mean, they don't feel micromanaged. They just can soar.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So
Yeah. I like that. That's actually a cool idea.
we'll
We'll
see.
see if people start adopting it and picking up and running
Exactly.
with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are an author, young lady.
I
You have,
am. Can you believe it?
woohoo! You
How
have
did that happen?
Girl, be accountable and fabulous. Growth looks good on you, girl. Please share the
Indeed.
steps employees can take to truly maintain their integrity and hold themselves accountable.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that come to mind. And so one of the things when it comes to accountability is realizing that other people can't necessarily hold you accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable. right? It begins with you.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking about how am I going to lay things out, let's say that you're like how I was, where like things would just always be slipping through the cracks and
Mhm.
I'd always be forgetting something.
Yeah.
Or I was just never prepared. I just sometimes would not know what was going on because I can be a little scatterbrained. And so as we go on this journey of being more accountable in the world of work,
Yeah.
one of the things that I want to lift up for everyone's consideration is that accountability, right, and making it this practice, folding it into how you practice your leadership,
Yeah.
it begins the day before. If we want to be accountable today, it started
Yes.
yesterday, right? And so, what does that look like? And I'm going to share some of my best practices, things that I do to get my poop in a group and stay accountable so that when things do slip, I can raise my hand and say, I did it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
my goal. So the first thing is there's something that I started implementing towards the end of my corporate career called Sunday work. I know lots of people like, I don't want to do no work on Sunday. I understand. Then do Saturday work. That sounds horrible to me. So
You know
I
what? I grew up with Sunday work. I grew up at
see.
pressing my uniform and
There it is. Yes, exactly.
who was
Exactly.
another client of mine? I said, you know, in order to have this, she was telling me about a young lady who was bringing it at work, and
Right.
she was in a Greek letter organization. And I'm
Mhm.
like, my organization is Alpha and Omega. It's just me and God, and I represent Him. And so that person was slaying it. They were on point, but
Yeah.
that person didn't wake up and throw it together. That was
Oh,
preparation
absolutely.
before.
It's not like that, right? Like that takes some discretionary effort. And
Yeah, so
so it
I agree
really
with Sunday
does.
work.
It starts on Sunday. And so for me, it could be 15 minutes depending on how much, I need to catch up on or just really making sure things are buttoned up or knowing that it's a really big week ahead. It could be all the way up to 2 hours, but that gets me set up for the week. 15 minutes, that is me looking through flagged items in my inbox to make sure, did I respond to everybody? Is
Yeah,
there anything that I was holding in my head like I'm going to go do this and then I didn't do it? Really buttoning things up, putting a bow on things and tying up loose ends so that you're going into this week ready and prepared, and also looking at what's happening this week. For
yes,
me and for what I do, I am doing different speaking engagements. I'm
yes,
facilitating. I'm meeting with clients. I'm doing sales calls. I'm meeting with my team. And
yes,
so, what does the week look like? What is the layout so that I know Wednesday, wow, that's going to be a really intense day. I need to make sure I go to bed on time Tuesday night. I
yes,
need to make sure that I eat well Monday and Tuesday so that I'm okay on Wednesday. It's about being really planful about you
yes,
because you are the talent and you have to take care of the talent. It's hard to be accountable when you're tired. It's
yes,
hard to be accountable when you don't have any clarity. It's
yes,
hard to be accountable when you don't know why you're doing this. It's
yes,
hard to be accountable when there's no necessity for the work that you're doing. And
yes,
so it starts Sunday, but then every night, the night before, you are engaging in some of those best practices of rating the day. How
yes.
did the day go? And what does
Raise the day. I like that. Let me write that down.
how did the day go? And what does a perfect day or a successful day look like for you? My goal for me is to strive for perfect days, right?
Yeah,
Amazing days where I'm like, dang, I killed it. But in order to do that, you need to map out what it looks like so that you know, am I hitting my mark? Am I hitting my target? Or am I missing it? And what is causing me to miss it? And
yeah,
so every 90 days, I do a review. So
yes,
list off my best practices, right? So the last time that I did a review, the things that came out of it where I'm like, what helps me to have like the best days ever? When I look at the days that I rated like tens across the board, what was it? Part of it is me taking care of the talent daily. That looks like, getting enough sleep, going to the gym most days. So I try to go 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes five. And that looks like, taking breaks and engaging in, things that make me feel like, okay, I know why I'm here. I get it. Spending time with God,
yeah,
listening to my sermons every day, going to church
yeah,
on Sunday,
yes,
but also hanging out with my sister and hanging out with the girlies and brunching or going
yeah,
out to dinner. Like that gives me something to look forward to, whether it's in the middle of the week or the end of the week. and then spending that really intentional time with my daughter. She's 5. So
Yeah.
5 minutes goes a long way.
Yeah.
Me being completely focused on her, I'm like, oh, on those days where I made the time to be intentional versus just momming because you
Yeah.
have to. Um, it was a game changer. And then the last thing that I noticed in that last 90-day assessment was daily professional development. I am, in
Yes.
growth day with Brendan Burchard. I have an incubator that I use with Liz J. Simpson. You see my books over here. Like I
Yes.
am trying to be very intentional so
Yes.
that I don't back burner my own growth, my own development, making sure I'm reading,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then also, as you're going on this journey of being accountable, figuring out the areas where you keep slipping through the cracks and you keep procrastinating. So
Mhm.
for me, if I see something on my to-do list 5 times and it just keeps rolling over, I just stop what I'm doing and I walk away from this area and I might go to my bedroom or take a walk. And this is the question I ask myself: what are you afraid of?
Yes.
What are you afraid of? Because a lot of people think we procrastinate because we're just lazy. Usually it's not
That's
laziness.
right.
Sometimes it is fear.
It is.
And sometimes it is how you arranged the step or the to-do item. And what I've learned over time is that sometimes I will put on my list a to-do item like prepare facilitation experience for Campbell's,
Yes.
and then it just rolls over and rolls over. Sorry, Camels, I'd be on fire though. But it just will roll over, roll over, roll over, roll over. And what I found out a couple years ago was that is not a good line item.
Yes.
Prepare facilitation experience.
Seems
That
like
is
a
so,
lot.
how much work that is?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, I sat and I said, "What am I afraid of?" And I'm like, "I'm afraid that it's going to take me forever, and
Yeah.
I won't have the time to do all the other things that I still have to do." So what I started doing was, if I have to prepare something big, I break it into tinier chunks, and I noticed I was checking it off.
Yes.
But other times, it might roll over, and the thing that I'm afraid of is like, what if I don't do a good job? Like,
Yeah.
what if they don't like me?
Yeah.
What if they don't like this hair, this nose ring, this makeup? Like, what if they don't like it?
Girl, you are
And
my
so then I'm procrastinating again, right? And so
yes.
really being able to understand and then talk your own self off the ledge, because
Yes.
this is
Yes.
your
Yes.
personal accountability journey. But I
Yes.
also think because we are going to drop the ball, having perspective. You've got your rubber balls, they'll bounce back, and your glass balls. What are
Yes.
the things that you cannot drop that you
That's
must take
right.
care of?
That's
And
right.
when you sit in this seat, who needs you the most? Because there
Mhm.
are going to be days you don't feel like it, child.
That's
You
right.
don't feel like it and you don't want it.
Yes. Oh,
Who needs
yes.
you the most? When you put butt in seat, who is counting on you so
Yes.
that you don't have to solely rely on just you
Yes.
and what you got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there's all of these best practices that we can fold in, because accountability can be hard and it can be scary, but you
Yes.
can do hard things. And I just want you to, on this journey, anyone who's going on this journey of being more accountable, two things. A, as you become more accountable about you, your business, and what you came to do, you are going to notice that you're able to maximize so many different areas of your life by taking that radical accountability for how you show up, because you are the talent, you do have the juice, you
Yes.
got it.
Yes.
But also, I want you to track your wins,
Yes.
because when you fail, not if,
That's
when
right.
you fail, it's so easy to lose perspective
That's right.
and start to get down on yourself and all
Yes.
the reasons why you suck, and to tune into failure radio and then let it just be
Yes.
on replay.
Yes.
I
Yes.
want you to track your wins.
So you can
Track
you
your
can
wins
look
so that
back.
when things go awry, you can look
Yes.
back and be like, but I'm still fire though. I just need to
Yes.
recuperate. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
just need to recuperate. I have a giant win board. It's a giant whiteboard that I track every single win,
I love
personal,
it.
professional, big or small. But if
Yes.
you're like, Dorothy, I ain't got room for a whiteboard, then download the free app Winstreak. It'll
Okay.
ask you what your wins were.
Yeah.
And it's gonna ask you what you think tomorrow's win's gonna be.
I love it.
To keep
You know,
you
I guess I
together.
I guess I could put a plug out here for Coach Tina Moore with Tina Moore Global and the ladies of C4. So I also stick my head in these streets on Clubhouse. And so every Friday is C4 stands for Crazy, Courageous, and Confident Club. And on Fridays, we celebrate our wins.
Yes.
Of
Okay. Then that
dynamic.
too.
I will encourage you to check it out. It's a room of dynamic women sharpening each other.
Iron
I
sharpens
mean,
iron.
when you hear somebody, you get motivated. Like, there's not a comparison, but yes, I did that today, or I learned this today.
Right.
There's always and as Coach Tina says, growth is the goal. It's not about comparing. Did you grow? Did you learn? So I love it. I love it. I have written down rate the day, 90-day review, daily professional development. Before I go to bed, I listen to a chapter. Right now, I am preparing for my insurance license. And I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, I thought I would be satisfied, but education is a long life journey.
Right.
I want to create a legacy for my unborn children so that they can know wealth management. No one taught me wealth management or how to manage my finances, but
Right.
I'm going to learn it. I'm going to master it. I'm going to pass it on. It starts with me. And
Listen, get these babies ready.
exactly. So if they want to have a patent, that I think about that lunch conversation was
Oh
so
my God.
powerful.
All the gems. Shout out to Alonzo.
Yes, I was trying to connect with him. We may have to do a sidebar so that I can get his contact information. I couldn't find him on LinkedIn, but
Oh, yeah, he's on there.
yeah, I didn't get his last name.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was so meaty. That was so juicy. All the stuff that you shared. And you're right, no one is infallible. There will be a
Right.
failure. But
Oh my God, yes.
once you're in
Yes.
constant motion of documenting what you did well, those bloopers, you'll be able to get over them and continue to move forward.
Yeah. And
Do
I
you
think
happen to have a copy of your book close by so people can take
you know what? Listen, it's upstairs. I had it. Wait a minute. No, is that it? No, that's not it. That's someone else's book. I had it, and it's upstairs.
It's all good. I will.
I'm
You
not
can
on
send me a
top of
picture
it.
of it. No, you are an author. You have been there, done that. It's selling. You can send me a picture of
Listen,
it, and I'll post it on my LinkedIn so that people can continue to check it out, check you out.
then they can take the accountability quiz, and they
Exactly.
can figure out how accountable they are. And then some of the things that I listed, they're going to get a free checklist on how to be
Oh,
more accountable.
love, yeah.
And so some of the things that I talked about are on that list.
I love it, love it. And I'm gonna buy the book and
Oh,
I'm gonna buy the book and I'm gonna make sure I do my test as well. Because
yes,
it's
you can
always
go to
about
beaccountablebefabulous.com and take the
continue to
quiz.
grow, continue to be the best that you can be. It never ends.
Yes,
So
that part.
the next question talks about your Fab Five, your team. I checked everyone out. Man, they were amazing reading their bios. Please tell the people about your team.
Yeah, so we here at Ellevate, we're a collective, and so we have experts on our docket, if you will, so that when there's opportunities that require experience and expertise, constitution and fortitude that goes beyond my own, there are these amazing Black women that I can lean on. Dr. Lacey C. Robbins, she is one of our neuroscience experts, leadership development, diversity, equity, inclusion, MBTI certified, TKI certified. So she's got all the certifications, and she is, of course, a doctor. And so I think that one of the things that Lacey really brings to the table is her ability to understand people, synthesize what's going on, and leverage science to help us find the solution, which I think is a really powerful position. Celeste Cuffey, her background is similar to mine, leadership development, diversity, equity, inclusion, and engagement, but also she is DISC certified, all the components of DISC.
Nice. It's
And
awesome.
I remember when she did my DISC assessment a couple years ago, she honestly set me free. Like, if you need a DISC assessment for your team,
Mhm.
Celeste Cuffey, first of all, she gonna set you free. Second of all, though, I think she does a really nice job of digging even deeper because of her experience and background, where she can pull things out of that assessment to really help you see you as you show up
Yeah.
and essentially give you the tools to elevate, pun intended, and take it to the next level.
Yes.
So
I
that
may I
is,
may have to email her mine because when I took mine, I am off the chart. I am off the chart. Like they're like you're not even on like your extreme I. So yeah,
listen, you're gonna have to reach out and we're gonna have to get you two connected so that she can help you do that analysis. We've got Dr. Essence Johnson, and so she is an optometrist by trade, but a certified diversity, equity, inclusion expert. And so she and I have done quite a bit of work together going into clients as we create brave spaces and help clients have these really important dialogues that they try to do on their own in the workplace, but don't always find the success that they're looking for. And so her perspective as far as, creating equity in healthcare is not like anyone else's. And Dr. Essence is basically famous. I mean, she has sat down with Damon John. She's had a Kia commercial. I mean, she's famous.
I love it.
And so having her on the team is amazing. And each of these women, they're part of the collective, but each of them has their own businesses.
Yeah.
Dr. Lacey C. Robbins, she's got Robin's Nest. Celeste Cuffey has Life Empowered. Dr. Essence Johnson has Black Eye Care Perspective. And then our other powerhouse on the team is none other than the Tamika Smith. She is our in-house data scientist and she has Perinorm Analytics. And so having her on the team, what that allows us to do is that gives us an opportunity to take the data approach and look at the data within the organization to be able to engage in predictive analytics to say something
Yes.
like, 20% of your female leaders are going to be out of here if
Yes.
we don't start giving them what they need. 15% of your BIPOC leaders are going to quit in the next year.
Yes.
And being able to do the 360s, the 180s, and being able to take that deep dive data analytics approach that
Yes.
no one on the team can do. She literally is the only one who can do it. As you heard me say, a lot of us have overlapping skills.
Yes.
Um, and she is the one who can do what none of us can do.
That's
She can
awesome.
crunch those numbers and make those charts and make it do what it do. She can make the DEI dashboards. She can make the leadership dashboards and really allow us to shine and stand out in the marketplace because the neuroscience and the data analytics and
Yes.
considering how women lead and ascend into power, those are some of our key differentiators in the marketplace. And then there's me. So like them, it's the leadership development, diversity, equity, inclusion, learning and development, and instructional design. But of course, I've got my own set of certifications around situational leadership and emergenetics.
I love it. I love it. Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
We out here, Black women doing it.
Yes. I love it. I mean, I love it. There's so many instruments. I really like the predictive index as well. And just to see how you can pair up with other people that may be missing from your team and what you need to add. So that's another instrument that I like to use. I may need to connect you with Shelly Smith. She's also on Forbes Coaches members list.
Very cool.
Her company is called Premier Rapport, and so she's one of my contacts with the PI. But that's amazing. The young lady who has made her what's the word I'm looking for? She is irreplaceable because she does all of the data. I saw
Listen,
the
none
eyewear. I may
of us
need to
can do
get
what she
cool
does.
glasses from the young lady that's on your team, but that's just amazing. Not only are you the collective, but individually,
They're
everyone.
fire.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are fire in their own right. So essentially, Dr. Lacey gave us the best analogy. We're all out here doing our own thing. and I spearhead Ellevate Collective. This is what I do all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we are like a transformer. We're like Optimus Prime. So when we need to, we all come together.
I love it. The visual. I
Yes.
love
So
it.
we are Optimus Prime, but individually, we're each, successful and making the magic happen in our own right.
And that says so much. A lot of people see the Black woman as angry or
True.
just fighting, but that is a group of five Black women that are uniting, that are working together, that's building each other up. And I just applaud you and the team for that success. That is where it's at
Yes.
2023, leveling it up. And so, my next question is, let's see, how do you balance it all, Dorothy? How do you balance it all? You are an entrepreneur, you are a mommy, you have your besties and your girlfriends and the brunches and the dinners and everything else. How do
Right.
you juggle it all?
I don't. I honestly,
Transparency.
balance does not exist to me. I think probably if I wasn't a single mom, I think I could subscribe to balance. But I think for me, I believe more in rhythm.
Yeah.
And so there are certain times, weeks, months, days, seasons where a lot of focus goes in this direction and these other things just kind of take a little bit of a back seat, and then other times the discretionary effort goes over here, and that's where a lot of the energy gets placed. But it does not, for me, things don't necessarily feel balanced per se, but my goal is to try to find the rhythm of it all. I think that when my daughter was an infant, it felt very unbalanced. And it didn't feel like there was a lot of rhythm. I was trying to find my flow as, a single mom who's divorced, and, trying to find out, like, how do I mom
Yeah.
and run a business at the same time and recuperate from essentially blowing my whole life up, because all of it happened back to
You
back to
did not blow your life up.
back.
Yeah.
Listen, all
Oh.
of it was back to back. Like, quit my job, had the baby, filed for divorce, went full time. Like, it just was really one right after the other. And so
Yeah.
trying to find that sense of flow, because it wasn't going to be balanced. And then just trying to find what works for me, and then what works for me and her, as we, cultivate this tiny little family of ours. And, she's got all of her businesses that
Of
she's running.
course. She's
And then
busy
I've
too.
got the business, and I'm currently the primary breadwinner.
Yeah.
So, trying to find that balance of, like, how do you create this environment where both people can thrive and both of us can be our authentic selves and still get stuff done? But I feel like there's rhythm to it, balance.
You're dancing.
Right. Yes. And so we
Yes.
need to shift the weight, shift the weight, lean back a little bit,
Yes.
shift a little
Drop
weight.
it.
Sometimes you got to drop it and pick it back up. I'm still working
Exactly.
on my leg knees, but
Yes.
we out here.
I do. I love it. I love the analogy because dancing, I love the analogy because I grew up a dancer. I told my mom I pirouetted out of her womb. I've been on dance teams. Shout out to Howard University. Ooh la la dance team. And whoop, always ready. Um, but dancing is beautiful. It is an opportunity for you to work out, right? Sometimes it hurts. So there's so many things. It's art. There's so many analogies that you can use and attribute dancing to, and it's getting it done. It can be known as a sport,
Yeah.
and a profession where you can get income. So I love the analogy of the rhythm, the ebbs and the flows, and just making it happen. It's fluid. You're making it happen.
Listen, you got to.
You have to. There's no other option. Success
No.
is the only option.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, yes. And so that leads me to we're doing phenomenal on time. We are at question, what is your next?
So, what is on the horizon is starting an online group coaching program, kind
Right.
of basically creating an incubator where, you know, the large companies often spend all of this money to get access, but then trying to find a way to harness those tools, those insights, and making it accessible to the individual
Yeah.
who, their company can't afford to help them get the development that they seek.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what we know often is that for the really large companies, they're often only investing about $1,500, and so that's one conference.
Yes.
um,
Yes.
they're not spending a lot of money if you sit in the middle, or if you are an emerging leader or an individual contributor. um, Companies aren't investing that much, and so we want to be able to create a platform where people can get that content, that information, and cultivate their leadership practice in a way that feels more affordable. And that hopefully organizations would be willing to kind of sponsor that effort. And
Yes.
so that's
Absolutely.
what we're in the middle of. And also, I'm in the middle of, creating my own podcast.
I
I
love
have a podcast,
it.
the Business Besties, that I, facilitate with my business besties.
Yes.
Strategy and leadership and how these things fuse together with like fashion and
I
lifestyle.
love it. Yes.
And
Yes.
really helping business owners of color get the game, because a lot of times we don't have the access that we need, which is why for Black women running businesses, on average, we generate about $43,000 a year in revenue. You can't create legacy with that. And
Absolutely.
so the Business Besties exists to basically break that cycle, because only 6% of Black women running businesses will ever hit six figures. And that typically is hitting it once, not hitting it repeatedly. Like, these statistics are dismal. And that's why we created the Business Besties. And so now I'm going to create, have rest in courageous possibilities, if you will, and create
Yes.
my own podcast that really focuses on
Yes.
leadership, our personal growth, that journey of being fabulous, being accountable,
Yes.
living your best life in general. So those are the two things that are on the horizon. And then eventually, doing another book tour, because I did the first round
Nice.
in March. And so getting ready to relaunch again for all the people who don't even know about it yet.
Yes.
They can find out about it.
Yes. Well, hopefully during this conversation, more people will know about your book and want to go and take that quiz for accountability, get that free checklist so that they
That,
can instantly put some easy I can do's, knock it off their list, start
right.
planning for tomorrow tonight, make
Yeah,
that triumphant Thursday happen on purpose. So I'm
exactly.
loving it, loving it, loving it. As I shared with you in the green room before we hit live, you will be the first episode of Winning Workplace Wednesdays on Spotify. So after I finish with my interview with Candace at 7:15, which ends about 7:45, yes, you are going to be on there. So I cannot wait to tune in to Business Besties and get me some nuggets so that I can implement too
Get ready. We are
amongst the six
excited.
percenters. Yes. What the next question asks for you to share your greatest accomplishment.
When I saw this question, I was like, because every time people ask this question, they always say, like, it can't be your spouse, it can't be your kids. And I'm like,
If
oh,
it is the truth,
child. I think that they just kind of want you to think outside the box. And so, other than making my bun in the sun, because she's pretty epic,
yeah,
I would say my biggest accomplishment is the mindset that I cultivated to be able to quit my job and then keep going in spite of everything. And so I mean, we ain't got all day, but there were so many reasons to not do that. So, to give you context, I quit my job while I was pregnant. Okay. And lots of people were like,
wow.
what the hell? Like, why would you do that?
That's faith, girl. That's faith.
That is exactly right. And so for me, God is the CEO of Elevate.
You
And so
better
as God
believe.
is the one who named this company, child, if
Yes,
it were up to me, honey, you'd be like, how is it at L1? What do you do
yes.
at L1? And so my friends were like, L1, what is that? First of all, I almost had to dismiss and, demolish all these friendships. However, I went back to the Lord like, look, nobody likes the name that I came up with and meditated on. Why don't you
Yes,
just tell me the name? And he
yes.
is the one who gave me Elevate. So
Awesome.
for me, in spite of a lot of things occurring that would make me think I need to go get a job, and I need to go be stable, and I need to go get this steady paycheck. I have a kid. I want her to have a certain life.
Yes,
Um, Cultivating that mindset that says your future is depending on you
yes,
to get through today, tomorrow, the
yes,
next month, and the next year.
yes.
And I cannot say that it was easy. There were a lot of times that I thought, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, yeah,
Why do I have such tunnel vision? I
yes,
am not doing this by myself. I have a baby in tow.
yes,
I think that when I look back, I think you need tenacity. You need to do that to do what we do.
yeah,
You need
girl.
tenacity. You need resilience. You need
Yes.
persistence. You need to
Persevere.
be relentless. You need perseverance.
Yes.
You need constitution and
Yes,
fortitude.
girl.
Like, this is not for the faint of heart.
Not at
And
all.
so I think to do it with all of the circumstances at play, um, and I think for the devil to just be trying to whisper in your ear, like, what are you thinking? And to just say, I trust God,
Yeah.
right? Like, he hasn't let me down yet.
Right.
I might be like 2 steps away, but he's gonna be right on time,
Coming in with the clutch, girl. He's coming in that fourth
to be completely
quarter.
clear. So, for
2 minute
me,
warning. Yes, he's
it's
there.
been one long trust fall.
Yeah.
But I've not fallen. My daughter is booked, busy, and blessed. She is thriving.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I was worried, like, how is this going to work? She's going to be the product of a single parent, like, ugh. But it's working out, and I think all things come together and they work together for our good. And
Yes.
so I think that's the biggest accomplishment: cultivating the necessary mindset to do one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Yes. 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 Congratulations to you.
Ew.
I mean, I am so proud of you. I know that we just met, but I am so proud of the woman that you have become, the woman that you are becoming, because it's not over. It ain't. It's just getting started, girl. It's just getting started.
That part.
And I look forward to just many, many more success stories and
Yes.
to have you back again, maybe
Ew.
24, because I know that we all want more in 24. That's going to be my motto in 24 to
Love
see.
that. I'm gonna take that. I'm
Girl, we
stealing
can share it. We can share
that.
it. Yes. So yes, I definitely look forward to even sharing some of my contacts like I shared with you. I have never been to Wisconsin, I've never been to La Crosse, but I look forward to stepping into the place in October. And should there be some calls for me where I may not be able to leave the DMV, but they want some of that good stuff with DEI, I'll be sure to pass on the love, my sister.
Yes,
We
and
have
Dallas.
to
That is
support
where we're located.
one another. So
Yes.
I'm going to give you the final word. What is the one takeaway that you would like for our listening audience to have, to take home, to package, to say, wow, it was a good Winning Workplace Wednesdays. I got to check out Dorothy and the Collective, Ellevate Collective. What is your final words to our listening audience?
What I always say, we have the non-negotiable, the universal truth, the requirement. You are
Yes,
underline, bold, highlight. You
yes,
are required to lead from every seat you sit in. You are required.
yes,
It is not negotiable. You have to. There
yes,
are so many people who are counting on you to do what you are supposed to do.
yes,
You are a leader, even if you don't have direct reports. Leadership is
yes.
influence. So it starts with you, and you are the talent. Take care of you. You're required to lead from every seat you sit in.
You heard it right here at Winning Workplace Wednesdays. I couldn't say it any better. I will leave with my tagline, and that is you know what to do. Until next time, keep shining. Toodles.
Bye, friends.
Bye bye.